So I've been home for about 4 days now from my big bicycle comedy tour. I rode over 1,000 miles. I did over 3,000 feet of climbing, 30,000 feet of climbing, sorry, a little more than an Everest. And I massed over 115 hours on the bike over 3 weeks. It was a big ride. It was a lot of fun. I'll do a day by day recap at some point. I had a little bit of trouble getting home. My original plan kind of fell through, and I had a family member in the hospital, so I wanted to kind of hurry back and ended up kind of just doing a ride and getting a ride with somebody in a car or a truck or a van, along the way to get me back home faster. And I do really appreciate the people that helped me out there. But it's been 4 days since I've been home. My hunger is still sky high. My energy is kind of all over the place. Yesterday I went out for a bike ride with my brother, and today I've been laying on the couch all day. I've been really tired. The first couple of days I had pretty good energy, but I did very, very little riding. Things are starting to come back now, though. I'm starting to get my motivation back, and the fatigue is kind of clearing. And hopefully the hunger will settle down pretty soon, because I've been spending a lot of money on food. So I'm going to do a couple of these recap videos. The first one is my gear. Some of the gear that I liked the most along the way. Some stuff that was new this year was the Ortlieb bags. I got the Ortlieb pannier bags and the fork bags. These things are incredible. Last year, my bags were not waterproof. They were semi-water resistant. I got rained on a lot. I did not get rained on very much this year. The bike sat out in the rain a couple of times. The bags obviously keep everything super dry, roll top enclosure. They're super easy on and off the bike. It's incredible. There's no question in my mind why these are kind of the standard in bike touring. I absolutely loved them. I don't think I'll go back. I won't go back to what I had before. We'll say that much. It is a little bit of a pain to roll the bag back up, but that's what it takes to make it waterproof. I'm fine with dealing with that. I put stuff in here I don't need while I'm riding anyway. So once I get to camp, I kind of open up the bags, get what I need out, and go from there. Another thing that I really like, this is a little different from last year, but I did have this a similar air mattress last year, the Climate Static V. This is the base version, and this one, my other one, the valve failed on it, and this one has a little bit of a different valve. It has the just like screw top valve, and it still has the same layout of the air pockets on it. And I don't know what it is about that layout. It does so well. I sleep on my side, and this is a very thin air mattress, but it still keeps my hip from digging into the dirt. I sleep on my side very comfortably. This is the Static V base. It's actually also a little bit lighter and a tiny bit smaller than the one I had before. So that's nice. It doesn't insulate you from the cool ground very well, but I'm just doing a summer tour. I don't need the insulation factor. So that the Climate Static V, I definitely recommend it. And it is one of the more budget-friendly sleeping pads out there. My tent is once again an all-star. My tent was the 9-mile one-man by Ascend. It's a Bass Pro Shops or Cabela's model. It's their base model, so it's actually also quite budget friendly. It's great for a tall fellow like me too, because it's like an 8-foot long tent. And even in a 7-foot, I'm not 7 foot tall, but in a 7-foot long tent, the pillow sticks out, your feet kind of tip down, and you end up touching both ends. And so that was great. I got rained on, I got hailed on, my stuff inside all stayed dry. Hey, if you've made it this far and you're interested in seeing more about my bicycle comedy tour, go to my page. I've got all kinds of videos. I've got stuff from the road. I've got stand-up comedy clips, and give me a follow while you're there. It really helps me out. I got this year, my little cycling cap. It's just a Pedal Mafia. The purple matches my bike. Pac-Man matches my personality. I lost my hat last year the first day. I got to Flandreau, South Dakota, and my hat was gone. I don't know what happened to it. I maybe left it at the bar or something like that after the show. I don't know, but it was so nice to have a little cap for so many different reasons. I had a bunch of times where June bugs, like little bugs, would get stuck in my helmet, and with the cap, they're stuck between your helmet and a hat, not crawling through your hair, which is not a comfortable sensation. Um, my little multi-tool, I got a little Cabela's multi-tool when I bought that tent, and it's got like scissors and a screwdriver and a couple like can opener, just a couple of little handy things. I used the pliers, I used the scissors, I used the knife, all at different points for different reasons. Love having like a solid little multi-tool along. My bug net, it takes up so little space, and a bug net on your head is such a huge game changer when it comes to the crazy swarms of mosquitoes. I had an absolutely biblical swarm of mosquitoes that surrounded me outside of Wall, South Dakota. I was traveling on old Highway 14, which kind of turned into a double track and then a single track, and then it was just kind of a field I was riding through for a little while. But I really did enjoy that ride once I got suited up for the mosquitoes, because every time I climbed a hill, they would catch up to me and just swarm. And that was absolutely crazy. Another one of my just consistent all-stars is the frame bag. The frame bag, the Surly frame bag fits so well on my bike. I really love how tightly it fits and how snug it is. I like that I have access to things on the bike while I'm riding. I can get right into that frame bag and access. I usually try to keep things on the top shelf of the frame bag that I need to access on the regular. I did actually also have my valve failed on my hydration pack. We'll get into that in gear I didn't like, but I stuffed that hydration pack down into the bottom of that frame bag. It takes up a lot of that bottom triangle, but it puts a lot of weight lower, and then the straw sticks right out between my handlebars. It's easy to kind of bend down and just grab a sip. I might do that next year because I did not love having a backpack on my back. Once again, we'll get to that in gear I didn't like. Another just returning all-star for gear was the feed bags. The feed bags, they're Relevate design, I think, something like that they're called, but they're from REI. They've got the little pouches around the outside. I love those pouches. I can put some gels or some candies, some gummy bears. A lot of times my trash ends up in one of those pouches because it's easy to stuff it in while I'm riding, and it's easy to see that I've got garbage that I need to dump when I get to a gas station or a resupply point. Another new addition was these aero bars that I've put on the handlebars. They're so nice riding in the wind, riding just like long distances. It was really great to have extra hand positions to be able to get down out of the wind. I absolutely loved having them on. One little problem is that when I'm using those, I have to either be traveling slowly or have my bike perfectly balanced, because there are times when a slightly misbalanced weight, especially on the fork bags, that can cause a wobble on the handlebars. And if you're out on the aero bars, that wobble gets kind of pronounced, and it's tough to stop. You got to find your way back to the hoods in order to get control of the bike again. These aero bars also gave me a different connection point for my feed bags. My feed bags started out kind of encroaching on my knees, especially when I stand on the pedals. And I was going to be doing a lot of climbing. I ended up kind of with a little bit of knee pain because everything was getting so tight, because I had to do everything from a seated position. I wasn't allowed to kind of stretch out and stand up on the pedals. I got the feed bags out in front of the handlebars now on those aero bars, and that made a world of difference. And by the time I got to the end of the rides, my knee pain was gone again because I was able to stretch and ride in alternating positions along the way. Another thing that I absolutely loved, super happy with, the sealant, the Tubeless tires, I absolutely loved that. I loved that I had tubeless tires. I was in Scotts Bluff, Nebraska. We did a show in Gering over at Scott Free Brewing. And as I was riding around, I got all of these. I don't know. Somebody said they were oak seeds. The I don't know if they're called goat heads, or I call them stingers. They're these sharp little pieces of plant material that stuck in my tires. When I pulled them out, I could hear the air start to escape, and then I would see the sealant actually rush in to the hole and seal it back up like quite quickly. I ended up losing only 2 pounds of pressure in the tires over the course of 3 days. I pulled about 10 of these things out of the tires. So especially if you're in a place like that where like thorns and burrs and whatever are a problem, it's such a great thing to have that tubeless tire system. It seals up so many things. I rolled over some broken glass with previous tires, and I saw a bunch of the little punctures, but they ended up, getting sealed by the sealant, and I was able to ride those tires out for a couple more months. And it extending the life of your tires in that way until that they can go through their full life cycle, and not leaving you changing tubes in the road, out in the middle of nowhere, off on the side of the highway, wherever you might be, is such a huge benefit. I wouldn't go back to a tube tire. I do carry an inner tube just in case I get a little bit of a puncture that hasn't completely destroyed the integrity of the tire, but it won't hold air anymore. I've got a tube that I can throw in there that it just gets me to the next town, gets me somewhere where I can replace my tires. That is my favorite gear along the way. Once again, please give me a follow. Go to my page if you want to see more of these review videos, these recap videos from the tour. I'll be doing gear. I'll be doing day-by-day breakdowns and plenty of more stuff. There's always stand-up clips and stuff like that. Thank you for watching.